The bell above the cafe door jingled, and Ethan Brooks didn't even look up. Another customer, another order, another reminder that he was stuck in a life he'd never planned. He moved between tables with the speed of a man who'd stopped counting hours long ago. His shirt was rolled up to his elbows, his apron covered with faint coffee stains, his once proud posture now slightly slumped from years of fatigue. The Golden Spoon Cafe was small but always packed, a favorite for business professionals and tourists alike. To Ethan, it was a second home, though not one he loved. He'd been working there for 3 years, ever since his ex-wife left and he became a single dad to little Lily, his 5-year-old light in a gray world. Every extra dollar went to her. Every shift he picked up, every late-night close, all for Lily's school fees, her tiny shoes, her giggles that melted away his exhaustion. As he cleared table 4, the manager barked from behind the counter, "Brooks, we've got a VIP order coming in. Don't screw it up this time." Yeah, Ethan muttered. "Because that's all I do, screw up." He stacked plates on a tray and headed toward the kitchen, until a hush swept through the cafe. A silence so sudden that even the coffee machine hissed quieter. That's when he saw her. A woman stood in the doorway, the kind who didn't belong in places like this. Her tailored ivory suit caught the soft light, her long dark hair perfectly straight, her heels clicking on the tiles like a metronome of command. Her face was calm, beautiful, but her eyes were something else. They were tired, haunted, as if she carried a secret heavy enough to crush her. The cashier stammered, "Gee, good morning, ma'am. What can I, get you?" "A cappuccino," she said gently. "To go, please." Her voice, low, smooth, familiar, made Ethan's hand freeze mid-motion. He shook it off and continued wiping the counter. No, he thought, it can't be. He turned slightly, just enough to glance at her reflection in the chrome coffee machine. His chest tightened. That face, those eyes, Valeria Hale. He hadn't spoken her name in 6 years. Back then, she wasn't a CEO. She was just Val, the woman he'd loved with everything he had. They met when he was a mechanic and she was a college student working part-time at her father's firm. He remembered her laughter, her dream to build something that mattered, her promise that love was stronger than money. Until one night, she disappeared. No call, no message, no goodbye. He'd searched hospitals, called her friends, begged her family. But her powerful father made sure she vanished, leaving Ethan to assume she was gone forever. And now, there she was, right in front of him. But Ethan didn't look at her again. He couldn't. The anger still burned too deeply. "Table 6 needs wiping," his manager said, snapping him back to reality. He grabbed a towel and walked past Valeria without so much as a nod. She looked up at him, her lips parting slightly, a flicker of recognition in her eyes. He didn't stop. He couldn't. She sat down in the corner seat, where the sunlight streamed through the window, illuminating the gold watch on her wrist, a reminder of the world she came from, the one that destroyed theirs. A few minutes later, she spoke softly. "Excuse me." Ethan turned, forced a polite smile. "Yes, ma'am." Her fingers fidgeted with the cup. "I'd like a cappuccino. Extra foam, 2 sugars." He jotted it down mechanically. "Name for the order." Her throat tightened. "Valeria." The pen slipped slightly in his hand. He froze for half a second, just enough for her to see it. But then he nodded coldly and walked off. At the counter, his coworker, Jenna, nudged him. "Hey, you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost." "Something like that," he muttered. When he brought the cup back, his voice was flat. "Cappuccino for Valeria." She looked up at him fully then, and the years between them evaporated. "Hi, Ethan," she whispered. The sound of his name from her lips was like an electric shock. He set the cup down a little too hard. "So it's really you?" "Yes," she said, barely above a whisper. He gave a bitter laugh. "You've got some nerve showing up here." "I didn't come to fight." "Then why are you here?" "To check how the poor half of the city lives. To see what your father's money did to me." Her eyes glistened. "Ethan, please, don't," he snapped. "You don't get to say my name like that anymore. You disappeared. No calls, no notes. Nothing. I didn't have a choice." He scoffed. "There's always a choice." She looked away, her hands trembling. "I wanted to tell you everything, but But what? He cut in sharply. Your world doesn't mix with mine. Your father wouldn't approve of the broke mechanic. Her eyes filled with tears, but she didn't speak. Ethan sighed, rubbing his temples. You should go, Valeria. Whatever reason you're here, I don't want to hear it. She hesitated, then reached into her purse and pulled out a small photo. Ethan, before you send me away, look at this. He frowned and took it. It was a picture of a little girl, about 5 years old, with chestnut hair and green eyes exactly like his. The name at the bottom read, Emma Hale Brooks. He blinked, confused. What is this? Valeria's voice broke. She's my daughter. He stared at her. Your daughter. Her chin quivered. Our daughter. The cafe noise disappeared. The air thickened around him. That's impossible, he whispered. She was born a few months after I left, Valeria said. Her name is Emma. She doesn't know you yet, but she's yours, Ethan. His hands shook as he gripped the photo. You're lying. I'm not. You left me broken, Valeria, he said, his voice rising. And now you walk in here, pretending to have a reason. Pretending I have another kid out there. People were starting to look over. Valeria stood, eyes pleading. I didn't come to hurt you, she said. I just wanted you to know the truth. To see her. Ethan stepped back, his throat tight, anger masking the tremor in his voice. You destroyed my life once. You don't get to do it again. He turned, walking away before the pain in his eyes could betray him. Valeria stood frozen, tears slipping down her cheeks. Through the cafe window, a small girl waved eagerly from a parked car, her green eyes shining with the same spark Ethan once had. Valeria forced a smile and whispered, Not yet, sweetheart. Not yet. She looked at Ethan's retreating figure one last time and murmured, But soon, you'll meet your daughter. Ethan barely slept that night. Every time he closed his eyes, her voice returned, soft, trembling, yet certain. She's yours, Ethan. Our daughter. He tossed and turned until dawn, staring at the old ceiling fan that whirred like an old clock counting down the seconds of his confusion. Dad. He turned toward the tiny voice. Lily stood in the doorway of his small apartment bedroom, clutching her teddy bear, hair messy from sleep. Morning, Bug, he murmured, sitting up. What are you doing up so early? I had a dream, she said, patting over. There was a lady crying and a little girl with my face. They were calling your name. Ethan froze. His pulse quickened. He forced a smile and kissed her head. Just a dream, sweetheart. Go get ready for school, okay? She nodded and ran off, humming softly, the same tune Valeria used to hum while cooking. He stared after her, his chest tightening. Dash dash dash. By noon, Ethan was at the cafe again, but this time, he wasn't thinking about orders or customers. Every time he handed out a coffee cup, he saw that picture again, a little girl with green eyes, the same dimpled smile as Lily's. He tried to convince himself Valeria was lying. Maybe she was trying to guilt him, manipulate him, or fix her own conscience. But deep down, something told him she wasn't. At 3 o'clock, the cafe door opened, and there she was again. Valeria. She wasn't wearing her polished CEO armor today. No suit, no stilettos. Just jeans, a gray sweater, her hair pulled back loosely. She looked human, vulnerable. Ethan's jaw clenched. You've got guts coming back here. She met his eyes. I didn't come to fight. I came to explain. He sighed. You already said enough. Not everything. He looked around. Customers were starting to glance their way. Fine. 5 minutes. Then you leave. She nodded and followed him outside to the small alley behind the cafe, where the smell of roasted beans mixed with the city air. Valeria took a shaky breath. When I left 6 years ago, it wasn't because I wanted to. My father found out about us. He said I was throwing away my future for a mechanic with no money. Ethan's fists clenched. He wasn't wrong about the money part. But he was wrong about you, she said quickly. You were everything I wanted, Ethan. Everything I loved. When I told him I was pregnant, he threatened to destroy you. Said he'd take your business, your house, even Lily. He had lawyers, connections. I was scared. I thought leaving was the only way to protect you. Ethan stared at her, his anger faltering. You think leaving was protection? You broke me, Valeria. You left me drowning. I know, she whispered, tears gathering. I tried to reach you. I wrote letters, hundreds of them. He intercepted everything. When I finally got away and came back, it was too late. You'd moved on, or at least, I thought you had. He looked down. You could have tried harder. I never stopped trying, she said. But Emma, she's 5 now. She keeps asking why she doesn't have a daddy like the other kids. I couldn't keep lying to her. The name made him wince. Emma. Valeria reached into her bag again, this time, pulling out a small wooden music box. She made this for you. He opened it carefully. Inside, a simple tune began to play, the lullaby he used to hum to Valeria when she couldn't sleep. On the inside of the lid, written in a child's handwriting, were the words, "For Daddy." Ethan's throat tightened. She doesn't even know me. She dreams about you, Valeria said. She says she sees a man with green eyes who calls her, Bug. His head jerked up. That was what he'd called Lily when she was a baby, a name no one else knew. The air between them shifted. The anger melted, replaced by something heavier. Where is she? He asked quietly. Valeria smiled weakly. Outside. She wanted to come, but I wasn't sure if you'd want that. He hesitated. I'll meet her. Outside, across the street, a little girl sat on a bench, swinging her legs, humming the same lullaby. She was holding a teddy bear with one ear missing and wore a yellow raincoat despite the clear sky. When she saw Valeria return, she beamed. Mommy, is he coming? Valeria nodded, her voice trembling. Yes, sweetheart, he's coming. Ethan walked toward her slowly, every step heavier than the last. When he stopped in front of her, she looked up, wide green eyes staring curiously at him. Hi, he said softly, crouching to her level. I'm Ethan. She grinned. Mommy said your name's Ethan, but she calls you something else when she looks sad. He smiled faintly. What does she call me? The one who never knew, Emma said seriously. The words pierced him like a blade. He swallowed hard. Your mom, she talks about me. All the time, Emma chirped. She says you make the best pancakes in the world. Ethan chuckled quietly. She's not wrong. Emma studied his face for a long moment, her eyes flicking between his and her own reflection in a nearby window. You have my eyes, she said suddenly. He froze. Valeria's breath caught behind him. Those 4 words, simple, innocent, shattered every wall Ethan had built. His lips trembled as he whispered, yeah, I guess I do. Emma smiled brightly. Does that mean you're my dad? Tears welled up, uninvited. Yeah, Bug, he said softly. It means exactly that. She reached out, wrapping her tiny arms around his neck without hesitation. Ethan hugged her back, his heart finally breaking, not from pain, but release. Valeria turned away, crying silently. For the first time in years, the man she loved and the daughter she'd hidden were together. An hour later, they sat on the cafe's outdoor patio, sharing chocolate muffins and laughter. Emma dipped her finger in whipped cream and smeared it on Ethan's nose. He laughed, a sound Valeria hadn't heard in 6 long years. You've got her mischief, he said to Valeria. And your stubbornness, she replied with a smile. He looked at her for a long moment. She's perfect, Val. Valeria shook her head gently. No, Ethan, she's ours. The words warmed him from the inside. But then he sighed. This doesn't change the past. You left. And I have Lily now. She's my whole world. I know, Valeria said softly. I'm not here to replace anyone. I just want Emma to know her father. Maybe someday, the 2 girls can meet. They deserve to know each other. Ethan's eyes softened. Sisters, he murmured. Never thought I'd say that. Emma, oblivious to the heaviness between them, waved a spoon. Can we all go to the park tomorrow? I want to show Daddy how fast I can run. Ethan smiled and looked at Valeria. Can we? Valeria nodded, wiping a tear. We can. As the sun began to dip below the city skyline, Ethan walked them to their car. Emma hugged him one last time, whispering, I'll dream of you tonight. When she climbed into her seat, Ethan turned to Valeria. You should have told me, Val. I know, she whispered. And I'll spend the rest of my life trying to make up for it. He looked down, then reached out and squeezed her hand briefly. Let's start small. Coffee tomorrow. Her eyes widened. You mean it? He smiled faintly. For the girls. She nodded, but the glimmer in her eyes said she knew it was more than that. As their car pulled away, Ethan watched the taillights fade into the distance. For the first time in years, hope flickered in his heart, fragile, uncertain, but real. He whispered to himself, "She has my eyes, and maybe, one day, we'll all have a chance to be a family."